Texas lawmakers will work to pass new laws again when they return to the Capitol for another session next year. But in the meantime, the leaders of the state House and Senate are out this week with their list of priorities to consider. One item getting a lot of attention right now is asking House members to look into Texas adding counties from our neighbor, New Mexico. Joining us now to talk more about her reporting into all of this is Kayla Guo. She's a state politics reporter with the Texas Tribune. Kayla, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Will.
So both the Lieutenant Governor and the House Speaker released their interim charges for their respective chambers to consider ahead of next year's session. So first, tell us how these provide some extra insight into what could come up next year.
Yeah, so these are the lists of priorities of House Speaker Dustin Burrows and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who presides over the Senate. This list is what they're asking lawmakers to study and come up with ideas and recommendations for before the session really gets underway starting in January. I think it's a preview of what the big issues are going to be. We see property taxes on there, of course, and a lot of sort of overlapping focuses between the two chambers, but some, varying approaches in how they want to tackle these sorts of issues. But I think, these charges certainly give us a glimpse in what these leaders' priorities are and what we can expect lawmakers to tackle next year.
Yeah, I want to focus for a moment on what Speaker Burrows shared on Thursday. So the lengthy list of interim charges that he put out included studying the secession of New Mexico counties to Texas. Talk to us about what's going on there.
Somewhat sounds, on its face like an unusual request, but, Texas did very minorly adjust its border with Oklahoma, I think a year ago. So it's not like totally out of this world. It is a reference to a proposal, in New Mexico to allow some counties on its border to band together and secede from New Mexico, not necessarily to Texas, but that is the New Mexican proposal. Speaker Burrows has said, we have some shared culture and it's the Permian Basin and the Delaware Basin. And so it would make sense for these counties to join Texas. And, he wants lawmakers to just study what that process would be like and what, sort of legislation would have to happen to make that happen. Though I'll note that I don't expect necessarily for Texas to annex some parts of Oklahoma next year, but it's on the list of things to study.
Will be so fascinating to watch what conversations happen in the next few months regarding that particular issue. One other thing we wanted to ask you about data centers. A lot of conversation right now about that. It appeared 2 times in Burrows' list of priorities he put out. Where might those discussions go? What is he asking the lawmakers to focus on specifically?
Yeah, I think data center development is going to be huge. It was on, like you said, Burrows' list twice. It was on Dan Patrick's list 3 times today, I think it was. Both of them are asking lawmakers to study how the state can support the further development of data centers, which are booming in Texas, which support things like artificial intelligence. But at the same time, wanting lawmakers to consider any, sort of regulations or things that might need to go into place in order to protect, especially Texas's water supply. Data centers use a lot of water, and also just make sure that, these are developing in a responsible way in concert with the communities around them. I think Dan Patrick's, list of interim charges was a little more strongly, wanting lawmakers to consider the impacts on the communities around these data centers. But both chambers certainly seem concerned about that and wanting to address that.
Yeah, much more to come with all of that. But for now, Kayla Guo, we appreciate you for your reporting and for talking to us this afternoon. Thanks for being with us.